Still a damn work in progress. Morning, everybody. How you all doing? Welcome to this Saturday, the 15th of February, 2025. I hope everyone had a wonderful Valentine's Day. For you single folks, me included, it's just another day, right? it's I've always looked at Valentine's Day like other days on the calendar, to be honest with you. If you're into someone and they're into you, it shouldn't take a day on the calendar for you to be reminded of such. So I've never been big about Valentine's, even when I was in a relationship, you know what I'm saying? Because again, if you're into somebody and they're into you, you should show your love, affection, and appreciation for them all the time. So even again, when I'm in a relationship, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. It's do something before, do something after. It's too crowded. Everyone's scrambling. Man, I went to Wally World yesterday, and this was late afternoon, and people were still scrambling to get gifts. Like, seriously, dog? Like, you didn't know this was coming? You had all week. You had all day. It's late in the afternoon, and now you're trying to provide something or give something to your significant other. No, I'm good on that. Yo, restaurants are usually mad crowded. The menu, they try to throw a special on or whatever for the day, and I don't know. It's just, it really has never been my thing. I'm very much more of an organic type of person. If I see something that I think you would like, or I would like for you or on you, what have you, I'm just going to get it for you. I don't need to wait for February the 14th to show my adornment of you. And hopefully you don't wait until February 14th to show how you feel about me. The same thing with Mother's Day and Father's Day. If we're together and you're a mother, you know I'm a father, I'm not going to wait for Mother's Day to acknowledge your motherhood. I'm just going to do stuff, with your children, hopefully, maybe with mine, maybe with both. It's like, yo, we got to take her out. We got to show her a good time. We got to do something for her. And hopefully the same is done for me. I told folks, well, not many folks, but I asked a couple folks, it's like, yo, I hope you give as good as I hope you give as good as you get. That stuff is important. I know we don't always show how emotionally vulnerable we are. I know we don't always show how emotionally open we are, but we are. We're here for the long haul. And you got a man in your life, then understand that cat is here with you, for you, and he's a writer. It usually takes a minute for most men to warm up. So if we warm up to you and we do stuff with you, for you, we claim you, we are definitely there, and just appreciate that, because time is short, life is short, no one's guaranteed tomorrow, and the last thing you want to do is leave something unsaid to someone that you cared about or whom cared about you, and that's no wiser words being spoken. It was 10 years ago that we buried my uncle Charles. I know, like the song from Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, but this was actually my Uncle Charles. And my Uncle Charles and I did not have a good relationship when I grew up. My mother is the eldest. He was next in line. My mother had me when she was young. I had more time spent with my younger uncles and my aunt than I did with him. When I came of age, well, that's not true. When I got older, my brother, the one directly next to me, he started getting into trouble. So the focus was on him and making sure he was okay and trying to keep him on the straight and narrow. Again, we just did not have a relationship. It wasn't until I was grown and got out of the military that I forged a relationship with my Uncle Charles. A really good one, beyond just, hey, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a really good one where we talked almost daily. We hung out pretty fairly, regularly, for real. And maybe not every week, but we actually did hang out. We would go out on purpose and hook up with one another and just do things. I would support some of the things that he did. He obviously would support some of the things that I did. And it was a really, really good look. And for that relationship to be sprouting, which it was, and then all of a sudden he was gone. That was devastating. That happened just a couple weeks after Audra passed. So just imagine where I was mentally, emotionally. I was a freaking wreck, man. 2015, that was a wreck. And my brother Milt, he had a car accident, really bad one too. I mean, he came out with nothing more but scrapes and bruises, relatively speaking. And I'm being honest. I'm not being, oh yeah, well no, like for real. He walked away with scrapes and bruises. I think he messed up his foot and somehow nothing was broken though. He just like bruised it really bad and and whatnot. But that happened in December. Matter of fact, that happened on my way to Miami because I was going to Miami to interview Phyllis with Audra. So I'm flying from Houston with a layover in Atlanta, here in Atlanta, got off the plane, turned on my phone. My phone is blowing up. I mean, blowing up. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So, first thing I do is look at Facebook because the text messages didn't come down yet. And all I see is these messages from people. I'm like, what the hell going on? So I open the message, like, okay. So the next one, okay. Then the picture started loading. I saw my brother's car. I was like, yo, stopped all that, deaded all of that. Picked up the phone, called, well, had the phone in my hand, obviously. Called my sister. I was like, yo, I'm in Atlanta. I'm about to cancel this ticket. I'm going to Miami, but no, I'm about to come to the crib. She starts laughing. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? She's like, yo, no, it's not even like that. Yo, he good. What you mean? I see this dude's car. There's no way in the world that he's good. Bro, he's good. Like, for real, you want to talk to him? Like, uh, okay. So she passes him the phone. Yo, what up, bro? Bro, you are. Yo, you good? Yeah, man, just chilling. You mean just chilling, dog? I saw your car. It looked like a freaking accordion. How the hell you talking about you just chilling? Son, it looked rough, didn't it? Yes. He's like, nah, son, I'm good. So I'm like, yo, I'm coming to the crib. He's like, nah, don't do it. I'm good. Seriously, like they gonna release me like tomorrow. Like, seriously? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. So I went on down to Miami, had a great interview too with Phyllis. Did not see Audra. She had something pop up. It just didn't work out. And went on from there. You know what I mean? And again, about a month later, she passed. So brother gets into a wreck. I think I lost him. Lose Audra without a doubt, just out of the blue. Life, right? And then lose my uncle. I'm like, yo, I know I'm strong, I know I'm tough, but God dang, what is this about for real? And after all that, I came back to Baltimore. Came back to Baltimore from Houston and was there a hell of a lot longer than I thought I was going to be. I really was. I thought I was going to be in Baltimore 2, maybe 3 years. At the absolute worst, I was like, maybe 5. Man, I wound up being back in Baltimore damn near 10 years. I think, yeah, because I left in 23. So I was there like 8 years. Yeah, way longer than I thought I was going to be. But it's one of those things, Again, we just don't know how life is going to roll. And that those were the punches that life threw at me. I took them and I moved on. But my point, going back for those who just joined us, you know, don't take tomorrow to do what you can do today. Don't take tomorrow to tell somebody or show someone how you feel about them today. If you're into them like that, you all have it established, you're rolling. Make sure that every day they know that they matter and that they count in your life because you just never know what tomorrow may bring. So, Rashi, you're still on mute. Morning, sis. I don't
Oh yeah.
know what you did for Valentine's Day yesterday.
Don't start that bullshit. I mean, the Because it's just games. Well, I love myself.
Yes, man.
I love myself, and I
Hmm.
loved on my. I took my son to handle his personal needs.
Hmm.
Apparently, he was out of soap, and you don't never let a teenage boy run out of soap.
That is true.
Uh, I don't
Because then he'll
acknowledge
forget
that.
how
I
to.
actually have never been a big Valentine. I'm like Morgan Freeman. I don't believe in a designated day for um, acknowledgement and
Hmm.
romance. And I'm if I'm in it,
Hmm.
I'm in it. I'm in it spontaneously, and it can't be a day. I can't consume on the day they tell me to consume. So, but I am a big fan of people spending that time with each other because sometimes if you don't have a day designated to it, some folks forget the actual beautiful art of being vulnerable. Because, see,
Hmm.
that's what it's about. Like, Valentine's Day is not about, per se, teddy bears and chocolates. It's the vulnerability of saying, I actually am emotionally invested in you, another person outside of myself,
Hmm.
who's not my family. And that's where all the power is. That's when you get to tell somebody, hey, I'm paying attention to you.
Hmm.
Like, what's up with you? And most people don't get a chance. They don't find that chance. They settle. They end up being with someone who like them, but they don't often get to chase the person they like. We You would be surprised, Lee, how many people give up on what they felt like they wanted. They do a self-assessment, and they look at this person that they want, and usually it's not they don't it ain't one to one,
Right.
and they just give up on this notion of uh, chasing, having to change whatever it is with them so that they can get into that other person's periphery or point of view, having to stop doing some shit, maybe even, right, Lee?
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
you can get with. Most people aren't willing to do the change, to be vulnerable enough to do the change, to let the other person know that they are interested in a life with that person.
Right.
And so that was the power of Valentine's Day for me. And when I was pursuing other people that way, I couldn't leave it up to a day. It had to be a 360 ordeal. Because, like I said, when you chase someone, when you decide you want to be with somebody, it's a different dynamic than someone who is settled for the love and affection of somebody who loves them.
Hmm.
So, are you the giver? Are you the recipient? I always found myself to be the giver, never really the recipient. I found that most people who were even calling themselves interested in me were not interested in a way that they would, uh, learn what I like and tailor uh, that time with me to me. But I did a whole lot of tailoring myself to those other people. So it's not a celebratory holiday to me. It's an interesting one though. It's too much vulnerable. It makes people too vulnerable. And in my opinion, for those who are willing to accept romance or advances, love type advances from people that they know, if they could just get with the person they really wanted to be with, they wouldn't even be accepting this, right?
Hmm.
That people who are able to settle for love that they know they're being given, even if it's not reciprocal, that to me is sad. It makes the holiday sad.
So, Rashi, you said that normally you were the giver, not the receiver. I just just indulge me if you don't mind.
Okay.
What would you have liked to receive?
I would love to receive. I'm a big they call them consumables.
Okay.
Things that you do that you can't hold in your hand forever. You have to keep them in your brain space. You have to harken back on them. Not a teddy bear you can hold, but like a concert that you can replay in your
Okay.
thoughts.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not big on like candy and stuff, but I mean I was accepting it because I knew that was what the people who were that was as far as the people who were calling themselves interested in me were, that's as far as they were willing to go
Hmm.
to show their affection. But
Hmm.
what would I have liked? Oh
Hmm.
yeah, definitely travel, concerts, um, uh, things where you are when you get done with the experience or the experiences, you have to just have that in your heart, in your head, or a picture of it.
Okay.
You don't have to, and that even go with jewelry because I have a particular type of skin. I couldn't be easily bought with trinkets either. It would have to be like titanium or yeah, I
So,
really cannot wear
so you have a metallic allergy?
right. I can't wear like gold if it's been fortified with nickel. It has to be sterling silver. It can't
Mm.
just be like it has to be an extremely pure form. Like I was, my like my wedding ring was titanium.
Okay.
But who's finna go fucking shopping for platinum? You know, it's not
Who can
for
afford it?
for they boot thing. It's just not. So I couldn't. And then I'm a particular reader, so you ain't finna drop no blood diamonds on me. Talking about here you go, and I'm gonna be like, where you get these damn shiny rocks from, and why would you do that? Why would you do that?
That is
Anyway, so it would have taken someone to know that I wanted to do carnival. If somebody had gifted me carnival one year, which has nothing to do, I mean, it's around the same time as Valentine's Day. Carnival usually falls within that Valentine window, but it wouldn't have been on Valentine's Day. But I would have loved Carnival one year, and I would have definitely said that was my Valentine's Day gift, right?
okay.
So stuff like that. When you have an experience with that person that you just get to live with for the rest of your life, and you
Hmm.
get to hold in your memories, that's Valentine. But like those bracelets and trinkets and stuff, some I've seen them get taken back. You know, I've seen them get snatched back. I've seen them get not for me, because like I said, I don't want. I'll get that stuff back. I'll say no when you try to hand me stuff like that, which is another problem. I tell people all the time, this gift does not actually apply to me, and
Mm.
I'm going to allow you to, recuperate your money rather than have me put this somewhere where you'll never see me with it again. Um,
Is,
I have
isn't
given gifts back.
okay? I respect that, but isn't it a matter of a thought, especially if someone is not as so in tune to you?
Right.
Their gesture, though, may come from or in the form of something that you're not in agreement with. But you said you would give that back and
I
allow.
would give that back and respectfully, not get that shit out of
Get
here.
this right,
But
right, right.
hey, I look if you give me some old funky ass cherry blossom perfume packet, I'm a hand that I will never spray that funky ass cherry blossom perfume on myself. And rather than just be then burdened with finding somebody else who I don't even want to smell it on to give it to, I'll say, I'm sorry that you don't know that I don't wear this type of stuff.
Hmm.
Let's let's go back to where you got this from and maybe switch it out for something that's more appropriate for me. Or here's the
I respect that.
thing, and let me show you what I prefer to smell like, and then you go from here because if you didn't spend 59.99 on the soap, the lotion, the body wash, the body scrub thing, let's go get our $59 back and then do this because I don't like for people to one feel like, okay, if you buy me this shit again, I'm gonna get mad. I can't keep allowing you to keep making this same mistake about who you think I am. So you have to correct the behavior so that they can get to know you as an individual. If you keep accepting teddy bears and chocolate and you allergic to them little fibers, that's the microfibers, and you are diabetic, then what the fuck we doing here, bruh?
Yeah,
You
you trying
keep
to kill me.
you trying to kill me.
Yeah.
What your gifts, while they seem appropriate, because that's what you've been taught, they don't apply to me, the
Right.
person. And that's the gift of Valentine's Day, the application of thought per person, not the purchase of brands and items that are pre pre-conditioned in our thoughts to accept. I
Mhm.
don't know any woman who really wants balloons. I don't give a fuck how big that balloon is. Teenage girls love balloons, little kids and shit. But an adult woman who's receiving balloons and it's not applicable to her reality. Now, taking her up in a hot air balloon ride trip over the city. Okay, now we talking. That's an experience she can remember. It'll challenge possibly her preconceived notions on how she feel about height. It'll give you a chance to make her feel safe with you in a new experience. Those are the type, right? But some balloons with the confetti inside from the store, that's not it's not I don't know how to explain it better, Lee. But
So
there are gifts, like there's some shit I would never buy you. I would never buy you some particular type of shoes. I know you a shoe dude, but I know not to get you no pointy tail gators with
yeah, well, thank you.
the rough gator, not the smooth gator, but when the gator ski the rough gator patches. You know what I'm talking
I know
about.
exactly what you're talking about. I know.
I'm not finna get you no noun later colored pointy toe rough gators.
Please not.
But I know you're into shoes.
Right.
So what would I get you? A shoe gift card thing. So you get
Fair
your
enough.
shoes, but you get the shoes you want. And then I get to see what type of shoes you purchased with the gift card I gave you. Then I get to learn you as a person, especially if you don't know how to use a gift card. Then I say, oh, okay, then we got a problem. We got one of these old heads who can't
Mhm.
even get with using the gift card online. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That's how you get to know some. You don't keep giving people what you want them to have.
Hmm.
You give people what they would want, and you only get to know that one way. You either keep it broad and open so that you can see what they purchase with it, or you get to know that person in a way where you don't make purchases that are not appropriate to their reality.
So, I appreciate that. I wanted to move us along a little bit because we're almost a half an hour in, trying to keep the show in segments best we can. Dig it. Uh, Wanted to go into the Super Bowl first.
I knew you was gonna do that.
Well, I got to talk about something.
I
This
can't even tell you how ashamed I am to tell you that I didn't go with my home team.
what?
I won me $50. I went with
Hold
the
up.
Eagles.
Hold up, Miss. The Chiefs fitting to win a third
I didn't
championship.
say that. I said it would be a fortunate sign that they were actually the team that people were saying they're not if they could make those football strides, because
Hmm.
it wasn't that many strides left to make
Okay.
based on the
Okay.
human morphology, human physiology. How
Okay.
many goddamn more
Hits
up
can
and
you
down
take?
the thing runnings
Right.
can you do,
Right.
right?
Right. 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 Right.
But I let me tell you why. You want to know why?
I
All right,
want to know why.
I had a
I'm
three
curious.
prong attack. All right, look. Number one, they got this thing where animals they put the food in the tray and the animals get to pick which one they think is gonna win, and three different animals picked Philly. Okay, and I know that's okay. I know. I don't put it. Okay, I
That's
know.
some Kansas City shit.
Don't don't worry. Okay, don't worry about me. I know. Stop it. Okay, second. Now this is more realistic. Now look,
Okay.
you know the game Madden, Madden 2K, the football game Madden. You know what I'm talking about? The football video game Madden 2K or something like that. It actually is updates itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yep.
updates itself with actual stats. So when you play, like when you play
Okay.
when you play the computer or when the computer plays itself, it plays
Hmm.
according to the actual stats of the team at that current time, right? So when
Okay.
they
Okay.
played the Madden game played out the Super Bowl based on the stats, the current stat, even with all the Chiefs that done, Philly won. Philly didn't win the way they won in actuality, but Philly actually won the Madden game.
I'm familiar with that. Okay, I got you.
All right. And then Donald Trump said that he was with the Chiefs, so that signed it off. I
Oh,
was like, oh well.
I got you.
I don't know if you know, but everything he touched, he got the shit. He got the opposite of the Midas touch. And whatever he's touching nowadays, it go to straight shit. And they doing it on purpose. Like people are automatic saying, "Oh, this is you." Okay, fuck it. This is some shit right here, and then they just stop messing with it.
Hmm.
You with him?
I said that
You with
last week.
Well Elon? Well, fuck a Tesla them. We don't want them no more.
Right.
If
Right.
you with this, we forget. Okay, so because them three together, the animal said one thing,
The
the
computer
Madden
said
game said another, which is
right.
my statistical analysis, which was really what kind of sealed because the game uses the actual stats of each player. Not it is not. It's actually a very intense uh, data analytics
Okay.
tool or whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yes.
It's got the real magic on it. And then Trump, Trump, everything touched dirty shit. So I said, oh well. And then I said, dang, are we a MAGA team? And I got to looking at
Yes.
the I looked at the racial demo because they pump the three or four running fast ass niggas where they got Rashid Rice and it's Chris Jones. So they'll scream their name, but if you do the actual roster, that
Hmm.
team it's white.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then the kicker already said that we gotta go back. We gotta take it back to where it should be. So it's at least one MAGA, open MAGA on the team. At least
Well,
one.
well, Travis Kelsey is a supporter. You know that
Okay.
Holmes is a supporter, so it's more than one.
Okay. So
But
then I found out they was MAGAs.
that was it.
Oh, and then I had a chance to go black with Philly. It wasn't even like I was going with some other weird ass MAGA team. I said, well, and listen, my family tried to put me out because they devout. My mother was actually crying. She turned the channel. She said it physically hurt to watch the game,
Yeah.
and it was an ass whooping
Yeah.
and a half. I ain't never
Now
seen. That
I
reminded
didn't
me of
see
my
it.
mama's extension cord days.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the game because I was flying back from Baltimore. I did not see the halftime show because of the same situation. But the score, when I looked at it, I thought I was, asleep. I was like, this can't be
No,
this.
no.
That was
They even did my favorite move. My favorite move in all sports. Get that shit out of
Yeah,
here.
bro.
They slapped this shit straight out. Get that shit out of here. And I was like, damn, y'all doing that?
Yeah,
That's street ball.
yeah.
Get
They
that shit out of here is what they
and
used to do on the
the,
streets.
the final score is nowhere near indicative of how that game went.
Don't try to pull that shit out at the last minute. And I think it was a mercy score.
Mm,
Philly, literally, somebody somewhere, somebody with some money said we got to let them up. We didn't have them for a shutout. You got to let them score. You
right,
gonna fuck up my in and out. I
right,
don't gamble, but you know what I'm talking about.
right. I know what you're
They
talking about.
got them for a 20 spread, not a
Right, you get the
55
spread.
point
Right,
spread.
right,
And
right, right,
so
right.
you got to let them score, shit. And so
Well,
they let him that last little brother slide on in there so he could have him something. But it was a mercy. It was a mercy score because I don't see any reason why they couldn't have used one of the other 7,000 plays they used on the Chiefs to shut them last few points down. They literally slapped his shit out the air. So
right.
what? There was no other. There were whole people on the team who never got to play.
Mm, mm,
They
mm.
never got to actually touch the field, and uh, it was kind of sad to see how unprepared they were to lose for the show they put on. They was crying like somebody snatched something from them, but you never showed up like you actually. And I
Fair
think,
enough.
I think the ones who don't fuck with Trump, once they figured out that Trump was up there rooting them on, they let them run over Patrick Mahomes six times.
But that was the oddity though, because the knock on the Chiefs has been that the refs are very generous toward Patrick Mahomes, and from what I've heard, because again, I still haven't seen the game. I think I'll probably go back and watch it because I can.
Just watch the highlights because
Right.
it's excruciating.
They actually were allowed to touch him without being penalized. Now, normally, if they get even close to him,
Honey,
they,
face
you
masking
know,
and everything.
I'm not saying whiffing. I'm actually saying like if they graze him, it's a penalty. It's a 15-yard automatic first down, so on and so forth. So it was definitely challenging to, but not challenging. It was definitely interesting to see that portion and to know that that was not the case as much this go around. But to look back at that score, the final score was 40-22. I never would
I
have.
made my
Yeah,
$50,
Rodney, pump
baby.
that fist one more time. I never would.
Hey, I
I
got
never
my
would
$50,
have
and
thought
I was just mad
that
because I
that
could
was
be
going.
rich right now.
I didn't think that
I
was
got a
going.
neighbor who lost 8 grand.
Oh, I can believe it. I can believe
I
it.
know a couple of people who lost upwards of $600-700 betting on the Chiefs, and I told them y'all got to be careful because it's a domestic violence relationship. And I told them that the Chiefs are batterers. On Monday, they will have your flowers, baby. He will kiss and rub on your booty. But if your dinner is late on Tuesday, he is going to slap the holy shit out of you. On Wednesday, when he come home from work, though, he's coming with dinner. You don't have to cook, baby. I'm sorry about dinner yesterday. I forget how hard he's coming with dinner, and you're gonna be like, it's all good. Baby, when his college team lose on Saturday, and you ask him to go somewhere, he is going to kick you in your ass. But Sunday, he's going to church with you, and he's going to ask Jesus for forgiveness on his crooked ways.
Right.
But Sunday night, if you don't cough that kitty up, he is going to slap the shit out of you. And this is the relationship of people with that particular team. They come, and I didn't seen it. I was like, this is abuse. This is domestic abuse.
So
And so I tell people all the time, you can take the flowers if you want to, but don't put the motherfuckers in the vase because he's gonna stomp them tomorrow. So just leave them on the counter so that he can stomp them later on.
so here's my thing. The NFL actually asked. Pat Riley permission to use 3 because he copyrighted that. So they were in position to do all this merch with the fact that the Chiefs won their third championship, which is actually never been done in the NFL. Three consecutive Super Bowls has never been done. So they would have been the first team to do it. And they were very much poised to do it. But as you said, Rashi, they just ran out of gas. I mean, there's only but so many hits you can take. There's only but so many plays you can mess up. They have not had a perfect season, though
That's right.
their record didn't reflect that. They did lose one time during the regular season, but it was not a perfect season by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
I think that the mystique of the Chiefs had people more shook.
Bruh,
Actual
did you
play
see
on.
that white lady with the voodoo doll stabbing the shit out of it?
I didn't see the game, so I got
Man,
this whole thing.
they had a
But
white lady tearing Patrick Mahomes' ass up. She stabbed him about 70,000 times. I don't know how she didn't stab herself. She was stabbing him through the halftime show. It
now
was
that's
just stab, stab. I
this
mean,
is
so, but the sentiment, but look, did you see, you got to see how Philly done tore their city up.
oh
They
that's
done ripped the
that's
light post out the ground.
that's Philly.
They are driving into buildings, ripping light posts up. They are they and I'm trying to shut up because we killed a white lady. We got so excited. So it I'm just trying to figure out what it is about the winning that means the city has to suffer. Mr. Rodney, what can you say? Because you've seen it before. What it is this fervor that happens where people have to die and infrastructure has to be torn down.
You're on mute, Rodney. Before you start, you're on mute.
Good morning, everybody. Lee,
Morning.
you got me up again, brother. Ooh,
Morning.
only for you and because of the topics of the show today. Now, you all asked me who was I supporting, and I said, well, really, it's a moot point to me because my team, the Giants, is
New
not
York
in, nor
Giants.
was I expecting it to be in. But my alternative, I'm an East Coaster, even though I live in Vegas, right? So I had to go with those Philadelphia, those Eagles, all green, right?
Fly, Eagles fly.
And did they fly?
They flew.
Did this stuff about the Chiefs just running out of gas? I mean, I guess maybe there's something to it. But Lee, I remember when I was a child and I'd go and live with my grandmother on the farm back in Kakalaki. And I might step out of line. Maybe I slammed the door, I stomped my feet, or maybe I just didn't hold my lip just right. And she told me to go out there and cut that switch. When she started spanking on that backside, I had plenty of energy. There was nothing about running out of gas. Legs and knees just pumping like I'm a soldier. So this thing about them running out of gas, no, that's just what they just got beat down, brother. They just got beat
it was
from the
demolishing.
beginning to the end.
Yeah, it was a demolishing.
Man, let me tell you, so many women got abused in Kansas City that night. I want to
Stop
tell
that,
you,
Rashi.
they
Stop.
got so mad. These people got so angry. There was so many fights where they was just they couldn't beat up Patrick. They couldn't punch Andy. So they punched their friend. They punched their wives. They beat their kids. Kansas City is actually still kind of sick. We actually still butthurt over it. And you can tell in the overall morale of the city, it is not right, y'all. I'm just telling you, for all the fervor and excitement you see for Philly, it's literally being sucked out of the hearts and minds of Kansas Cityans and then placed into Philly
Can
because, yeah, it's real sad. Like, even the liquor store is sad. Usually around this time, you go to the liquor store, they all happy and people will buy you a drink. And it's just, hey, go Chiefs, go Chiefs. People snatching shit down off of their windows. They just don't understand what that phenomenon was. But we did get a show, Lee.
I
Uh,
I was going to say, can we talk about the fact that Kendrick was nice enough to allow the Chiefs to play during his concert?
Doing his concert.
Can we at least have
Oh my
that
God.
conversation?
I mean, Rodney, I know you were just in heaven because the symbolism was so heavy laden and so to what you talk about all the time. He talked about from the protection of black women to the children, the protection of children in
Black
America,
love.
black love, man, and then all those black men. Did you see that? You already know that it wasn't a white face on the stage. Did you know
Not
that?
nail one. And notice how everybody was dark skinned too. There was nobody light skinned.
He jam packed that whole show with how? How can he even get away with a black only
Well, okay.
all cast? I don't
So,
even think you could get away with something like
so
that.
Tashi, let me ask a question to Rodney. Rodney, it's not the truth, but somewhere along the line, Kendrick Lamar has to be a Virgo. I know he's a Gemini. Somewhere along the line, that brother has to be a Virgo. There's some Virgo tendencies in that man. The receipts that he held on to, the connivingness, the ability for him to put on such a display, the creativity to put on such a display. I'm not familiar with the Sony PlayStation, not familiar with it at all. But the stage was set up like a controller. The stage was set up as so the lights blinked in the direction or the parts of the controller that give you ultimate energy and strength. That's what when the lights blink, that's how you hit that controller as a cheat code. That's what that was about. Then to go from that to a street block, then to change the street block. This is the whole stage. Change the street block into a prison yard. To have Sam Jackson come on, Rashi, to your point, the symbolism. After Sam Jackson said the duck one life, they wound up on the X. Shout out to Malcolm X. It was so much in that performance. The fact that when he wanted to slow it down, they went to the controller that's an upside down triangle. The symbolism for femininity and resistance. They were singing a black love song, which says to me, black love is the resistant power to what we got going. It is the power that we need to effect change to what we got going on. It's the resistance. Man, it was so much. I have so many notes. So many notes
And he
right.
didn't have to do none of that. Mr. Rodney, tell him having Sam L. Jackson as Uncle Sam, that was the beginning of that what? What?
Yeah.
So let me share something with you guys. I watched a halftime show. I watched the game before that, not all of it, but most of it. And while the halftime show was on, I was thinking, man, if I take the dumpsters out right now, I can do it while it's still daylight. Nah, let me finish watching the halftime show. Then when the halftime show was over, I thought to myself, man, I should have took the dumpsters out because I wouldn't have missed nothing. And I thought this is very important to share with our listening audience, because when the halftime show was over, I actually thought it was one of the worst halftime shows I'd ever seen.
Wow.
I was
Wow.
reading an article, and so I was talking to my daughter, and my daughter told me a couple of things, and I was like, oh yeah, I thought something was resonating, but I didn't quite get it. I saw Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam, and it sounds like he was talking a little off, but I didn't quite catch what was going on. And then somebody said something about AKAs, and one of my other daughters said, no, not with all of that red. And I was like, oh yeah, there was a lot of red. That would be deltas. And it wasn't until the next day that I read an article and I realized that the people were dressed in the colors of the American flag and were positioned as the flag.
Yep.
Then I saw, so I got curious. I was like, well, what was really going on? And I picked my daughter up from work. And when I picked her up from work, Brian Harris, my collaborator with delivering food for Black Book Media Cares, called me. And he's a little older than me, and he was on fire talking about the halftime show. And I says, well, Brian, I really didn't get much out of it. As a matter of fact, I was thinking I'm wasted time by not taking my dumpsters out while the show was on. And he was just beside himself telling me some of the things that you all just shared. Actually, almost none of what you just shared, some other things. And I was like, really? And so my daughter was in the car, and I asked her a question, and she chimed in, and she started telling me the things. I was like, wow, that was pretty deep. It's like, yeah, you missed it. And I felt really bad because I'd like to think of myself as being fully pro-Black, Afrocentric, whatever you would call it, fairly well-read in Black history and, rap. I was there when rap was created. I was there when breakdancing was created. I was there with some of the creators. And I thought, I wonder why I didn't get all of this stuff that was very powerful. And then I was listening, so I started to investigate, and I listened to this white guy had a blog on it, and he was breaking it down too. And I thought, this is really embarrassing that a white dude got it and I didn't get it. Nothing against white people, but this is my stuff, right? And but he said something that was really important. And he says, if you're a man of a certain age, if you are a person of a certain age, you may have missed a lot of what was presented. So that was my out. Thank you to the white guy for giving me an out. Because I said, you know what? And I told my daughter, I said, well, maybe the message really wasn't meant for me. And then Wednesday, I was on the local radio station, KCEP 88.1 FM on your dial. And at 10 o'clock, they have a police and community show. No policeman were there, but the moderator was there, Brother Mujahid Ramadan. He had asked me to come on the show. And I bought a bunch of books. And so when I brought up how powerful the show, because now I know, I read up on it, I even did Chat GPT, because I wanted to get deep, right? Because I was like, man, I missed all of that, now I want it all. And I was telling him about how great the show was, and he kind of paused me. And like, well, yeah, but sometimes the message in the music, in the rap, can be sort of off. And I understood what he's saying, because that's true, and I recognize that. But I said, not in this, though. And now Brother Mujahid's older than me. So a person that I do look up to, and but I thought, see, I didn't get it, and I'm a man, I'm a person of a certain age, not to say that other people my age didn't get it, but I didn't get it, and he's a brother that's at least as well read as me and steeped in history, because we both walking around with our Black books, right? And we're talking about them on the show, but he and I both missed all of that stuff that you were talking about, and some more that you hadn't mentioned yet. And when I was talking to him, I said, well, brother, maybe the reason why we didn't get it was because it wasn't meant for us. You and I talk a certain way. That's how we were brought up. And I said, but people younger than us, they tend to talk more street, more slang. They call me a square, even though I used to bang back in the day. But the young people today call me a square, because I have lived a certain life. I'm of a certain age, have certain experiences, have certain education. I may see the need for things that they see, but my messaging is different from theirs. And I told him what I think was the best thing about the brother was that he spoke and reached people, that it's a good possibility that no matter how many books I've read, in just the way that I present myself, even maybe in what I wear, that those young people may close their ears to me, or even worse, close their mind to me, so they don't receive the same knowledge that Brother Kendrick Lamar brilliantly portrayed in his production, and right under the noses of the establishment, including the American Führer. As a matter of fact, I thought Kendrick Lamar was like Jesse Owens after he got through or Joe Louis after he got through beating up on Max Snelling and Hitler got up and left on both occasions. And I thought it was brilliant that he was able to put all of that together, first of all, and then do it in such a way that he could present it so that the people that would not have allowed him to do it, I believe, had they known that's what he was going to do, he was able to put it together in such a way that he could present it right under their noses, and so that the people who do identify and receive their messaging as it's delivered by someone like him were able to receive. To me, that was the brilliance and genius of Kendrick Lamar. And though I still have difficulty understanding what he's saying, I'm just being honest, going
But it's
back
probably
and
because
then
you're not a
reading it was
pedophile.
brilliant.
Like the whole message is kind of anti-pedophile. So if you're not into, playing with people's kids, this is what I'm saying. Most people who get offended, I'd be like, are you a pedophile? Because it's definitely an anti-pedophile message. So if you getting real upset, it might be because you got certain proclivities that you can't tell nobody about. But most importantly, he came out with your garb on. He came out with them flared lands. That was your generation, Mr. Rodney, who started with them big old busted out anklets like
Sister
that.
Rashi, those were called bell bottoms back in the day, and yes,
Come
I did
on.
wear them. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I know
Matter of fact, I
you had a
also
closet
had
full of
some
them
cranberry
motherfuckers.
colored bell
Polyester,
bottoms.
corduroy. Come on, you had them in all fabrics, right?
There's nothing wrong with corduroy. It gets a little. It got cold in New York. You want some corduroy?
Say that again.
But mostly, you know what I like? He kept it just a little hood, and I want to say that's what the disconnect is when we hit that kind of stage. When Usher hit that stage, he gave a glitter rod. When black people hit that particular stage, it tends to be a concert production on a scale, on their type of scale. It's a lot of lifting and flying and a lot of glitter. It's a lot of fireworks, boom in the background. It looked like their type of concerts. So when you flood the floor with that, had to easily be what, at least 300 or 400 black people. First of all, that brokers its own paycheck. He paid somehow at least 400 black people. Let's start there. And that's above the message, because they get paid. Now, if you look at who built it up and who did all the stuff, them was all white people, almost all white people. But when he got a chance to put the dancers and stuff down, he flooded it where he well. Okay, here's the other part, Mr. Rodney. The message is hard to hear because don't his Kendrick Lamar don't tell, or his music ain't. He got a video where it's four black dudes smoking a blunt in a car with the police carrying it on their shoulders. They got police for wheels walking the car, and it's the dudes in the. Okay, so his message ain't. He don't have hardly no songs where he's like, we all American, we gonna be all right. He don't do that. It be, we gonna unite, and we gonna, he's always had a subversive message to his music. And so the fact that he was able even to get that Super Bowl slot was some math magic in itself, because
Okay.
they don't
Pause.
usually give
Pause
that
right there.
seat.
Pause right there. Because remember, the biggest troll of them all is Jay-Z. Remember a couple years when Live Nation signed the contract with the NFL to provide halftime content? Jay-Z
Yes.
made that happen. So think about that. Think about that. Jay-Z gave the green light to Kendrick. Now, was it Kendrick calling Jay-Z, or Jay-Z was like, yo, finish this dude, man. Kill him. Just demolish him, because he's dead right now. I don't know what Drake can do to come back, to be honest with you.
It ain't
I don't
that
know.
jacket with the bully holes in it. You
Yeah,
ain't
yeah,
seen him.
yeah, yeah.
It ain't that.
he's going to have to stay pop hard. Everything he does for a good moment moving
He's gonna
forward
have to
is
go to Africa.
need to what that yeah, he may need to do that, but it's going to need to stay pop-ish. He's going to need to stay in that lane. He cannot come back at Kendrick at this point. Kendrick
But you know
has
what though? I
by
hope that the part about this so-called feud with these two rap artists is the lesser part of the discussion, though it is germane to the discussion in the culture vulture aspect of Brother Kendrick Lamar's production during the halftime show. And so I hope that we stay on that versus just the tit for tat thing
Yeah.
that the two rappers are doing, because what I think was deeper is African American Black culture is America's #1 export to the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's us.
Mm-hmm.
Culture. America really would have no culture if it wasn't for African Americans. And so America's biggest export that we actually get a very small percentage of in value, especially monetary value, is still us. And that part about folks coming in and taking from us, and then after they take from us, sometimes even demean us for having it. Because I remember when rap was created, where it was a genre or was coming into a genre, they said, well, we'll give it 2-3 years and then it'll be gone. They
yep.
considered it something that
It was
was
just a fad.
ghetto. Well, a fad for sure, but they considered it something ghetto, something lowbrow, underneath them.
Not much
And
difference than they did jazz for real, brother Rodney, right?
well, anything that belongs to us, I mean, heck, they don't even acknowledge that bluegrass came from us, right? You get a brother singing bluegrass and they'll be up in arms saying, hey, they're appropriating our music, not realizing that they appropriated our music that wasn't even called bluegrass, that became bluegrass. So those are the types of things that Brother Kendrick, once I figured out what the heck he was saying from reading stuff and reading what other people's interpretations of what happened was, I just thought when someone says art, this was art at the highest level, and it demonstrated why our culture, our artistry, is America's #1 export to the world. Whether you go to Japan, Korea, Africa,
Yep.
they're
South
imitating.
America,
You name it,
Europe,
the world. Heck, if
right?
there was people in
It
Antarctica, they'd
actually
probably
makes
be
me
rapping
mad.
too.
It be
Uh,
making me mad because they don't like the people, but they like they like everything but they like everything about your black ass, but your
But
black
you
ass, and
but you
it
right,
know
just
what,
gets me
Sister
so.
Rossi, I don't think that's true. They actually are envious of us. That's what it is. Because when you say when they go out and bake under the sun, they're trying to look like us. When they're getting their lips plumped, I remember as a young man in the military walking into the bus, and on the window they had some big octopus looking something that was supposed to be my lips, right where I was going to sit. And I think back of how they ridiculed me for the fullness of my lips, because that's how we politely say it now. That's how they categorize it now. But then it was just big bubble lips and a whole bunch of other derogatory terms associated with it. Well, I got them because my mother and my father gave them to me. They have to go out and pay for them. The same thing with our muscularity, our women's backside. They spend big dollars to imitate us. So no, they love everything about us, which has caused them, unfortunately, to become envious of us to the point that they were willing to elect someone that is hurting them as much as he's hurting us, but ultimately we will bear the brunt of it. And Brother Kendrick Lamar, through his halftime show, proved that all these years when we were trying to tell the country that it was going in the wrong direction, that it would come to this end, because we're almost at the end of what this country used to be, and I'm using past tense purposely, They said we were making stuff up. Oh, that's not true. It's not that bad. We're seeing stuff that's not really that. Would they do that? Well, if so, that was way back then. And no, it's right today. Don't talk about it. If you talk about it, it'll go away. Well, none of that worked because it's here and it's something worse than Jim Crow. And Kendrick Lamar took them and us, even though I missed it initially, through a history lesson and gave the world, because I think it was like 300 and what was it, 55 million people,
Yeah,
or
it was the most watched halftime show ever to
and
this
that
date.
that is probably the biggest history lesson that this country will get and the world will get because of the dictator in chief, the DIC. You can pronounce
Honey,
it however
made
you
him
like,
so mad
but
he
anyway,
left.
that
They made that demon
he's
so
in
mad he
charge
up and left.
and
Do you
he's
hear
Did
running
me?
you?
this country into the ground.
He left. He didn't see the whole game between his team losing and Kendrick Lamar doing his show. That demon got up and left. You hear me? He said, I could be doing something with Elon. He had a horrible week. Between the Time magazine putting Elon in the desk instead of him, then Elon showing up in his pajamas with the baby, and the baby whispering, "Shut up, you ain't no president. You need to shut your motherfucking mouth up." And just him having to roll back stuff, all them executive orders, he didn't have to roll a couple of them back already, because
Well,
by the time he get ready to enact, there's already federal blockage and people doing a double take on it and saying, "Okay, you do this, we do this." So he's had a horrible week. Y'all
but
be kind to the poor demon.
okay. So are we wrapping up the halftime show? Because I did want to get into that week. Is there anything else that we wanted to speak on as far as that's concerned?
Well, break down some more because you on a roll there
Oh
for the
man, look.
people who
Okay,
are
so
listening that
uh,
may have been
you
like
you
me, thinking they didn't really receive much.
you
Share
you
some more about that show.
well, you said some things that I was going to say as well. It's about the colorism, right? The red, white, and blue. Uh, please look at it as well. Serena was a part of the show. She crip walked. Remember, her sister was killed
On
by a
the
crip.
X, right?
Right, right.
Both
Remember her.
of them. He
her
dated SZA and Serena. He got both his ex girlfriends and put them up there.
um, well, I mean, that's unity, and I also think that it was a testament to him, which we have been saying for quite some time. No matter our differences, this is a moment in which we need to come together. We need to come together so we can push forward and survive these 4 years and many more to come, because we just don't know the effects that the last Trump administration and this one are going to have on our people. And none of that is going to be short term. You say what you want to say about Trump. The people around him have been very smart. They've put people in place that will be impactful in our lives for a very long time. I'm speaking specifically and directly toward the judgeships. When you have district attorneys, as you've had this week, career district attorneys, USDAs that have decided to pull the bungee cord and jump out the window. It's like, yo, I got to get off the ride. That's a problem. That is a problem, because then you go and you allow them to put folks in place that will impact us negatively for many more years to come, especially if they go with very young folks. And adding on to that, here's the other challenge, and this may be the biggest play of them all. What if all of these folks decide to pull the cord, jump out the window, and then they being this administration say, well, we did overstep. We can't hire these people in enough time, so we're going to not hire federal employees back. We're just going to privatize the government. That is a huge problem. Again, that goes directly to what I've been saying for quite some time: grift. All this is aimed at getting as much money as they can from the government. They're screaming up and down, day in and day out, about how they want to reduce government in order to um, cut down costs, and be more efficient and more effective. And it's not about that. They want to scale back as much as they can to where it's in desperation mode, to where then the American people are now crying, well, we need a resolution. We need you to fix this. We need you to fix this. And they can then go back and say, well, the processes currently in place did not allow us to fix that. Here's an interim measure. And there in the interim, it's going to be privatized. Now, the issue is, again, with that privatization, look at those contracts. Look how much money folks are going to be guaranteed. And then whomever comes in afterward is going to have to make the harsh decision to pull those contracts out and fork over that dough or allow it to continue. And that's the space that we're in right now, that I'm concerned about we're in right now, because I see it happening. I truly see it happening. But to stay on Kendrick, so after Samuel L. Jackson came back the second time, he said, America doesn't want to see that. It's too loud. It's too ghetto. Kendrick went into Be Humble. And some of the lyrics on that song was be humble, sit down, be humble, sit down. He did that, finished that, and changed this whole mood and vibe and went into DNA. I got loyalty or royalty up on my DNA. That was the resistance. The show went from that to the lamppost when him and his friends were all together. Well, I'm sorry, when it looked like a group of folks that were standing on the corner just rapping like folks used to do back in the day. When they saw Samuel Jackson coming, they saw the law coming, they saw America coming, they scattered, they ran away, they were scared. Kendrick stood there, said a couple more words, then he faded out. And then as Sam started to speak again, he said, have you lost your mind? And that's when they went to the upside down triangle. That was the love piece. That was the resistance to power piece. That was the support of feminism and Black unity piece that they went to. After that, he did Peekaboo. He popped out, did Peekaboo. Man, this performance was off the chain. There was so, and at that point, that's when they went to the X. It was just so much. It was so much in this one performance that we literally can sit back and talk about this for weeks on end, and we'll still see more things. We'll still get a greater understanding. This cat conceptualized this. Whomever his choreographer was, shouts out to him or her, them, whatever. Shouts out to, again, his creativity. He is definitely playing on a different plane than most folks. Shouts out to the fact that he was able to slide this whole thing in without many folks noticing or being aware of what he was sliding in. And the execution of it was just so freaking crisp. It was crazy. He leaned into the Americana time and time again. To your point, Rodney, with the red, white, and blue. He also leaned into the gang politics with the red, the blue. Obviously, that's a shout out to the gang politics and the white folks versus Black folks. Because remember, the vast majority of his dancers, I don't think any of them were light skinned. I'm pretty sure all of them were dark skinned. He only had 4 or 5 sisters on the entire in the entire group. I mean, it was the strength of Black manhood, masculinity was there. There are just so many pieces to this.
Well,
Again,
Lee, what about that patriotism? Not
Right.
just the fact that he
Right.
had the flag,
Right.
but many people don't associate us as patriotic, even though we're, if not the most patriotic, maybe second to the Native Americans. And that flag that he had, the part that I did think I had gotten was the fact that America was built on the backs, because remember they were kind of bent over, right?
Yep, bent over, yep.
Was built on the backs of the Black person.
Mhm.
So obviously you're not going to have a bunch of white people mixed in when the imagery is, no, this country and everything that it has came about off the backs of Black people, the
Right.
same people that you have been trying to destroy ever since they they have been here. And then when the flag, like when you were getting to the flag split, and he
Split. Yep.
walked down the middle of the flag, showing the divide
Mm-hmm.
in America.
Yep.
Now that I didn't really get that then when I was watching it either, but later on, and I thought, just suppose, again, it wasn't for people like me to get then, and maybe not for everyone, but a part of the brilliance was to put on a production as he did, literally under the nose of the American Fuhrer and the maggots, MAGA, and to do it in such a way that they couldn't stop him, and also in such a way that people like me who didn't get it would read up on it and still have this discussion a week or more later to talk about it and to delve into it. And here's the good one: at the gathering, the white people who came to the gathering, and I appreciate those brothers and sisters who came, because some of them got it, some of them didn't, but some of them did, and some of their children, like my children, are the ones who explained it to them. And a lot of the stuff that those of us of a certain age, maybe, and a lot of older people did get it, but I simply didn't get it. I think the fact that, assuming that the books will still be accessible to us, that there's just going to be so much, there will be courses, I believe, about this NFL production. So the one that I said that I wish I would have went ahead and took the dumpsters out, I'm so glad that I didn't,
That
though
you
I
actually
didn't get it
didn't.
at the
Yeah.
time. But I can
Right.
still say I saw it live.
There you
You
go.
guys need to know this, that usually I don't get into people's personal business. Uh, he is actually a member of a very interesting religious sector. He worships a god called Metatron, and I don't think any of you have heard. Metatron is also followed by Carlos Santana. And so you kind of got to do. He's Some would call him a mystic, but
Wait a
he
minute,
is not.
Sister
He's
Rossi,
actually
did you say Megatron like the
not
Transformers?
Megatron, not from Transformers.
I
That's
just
what I
wanted to
used
make
to
sure I was
Meta.
say.
clear
Not
on this.
Megatron. No, not Megatron. Metatron.
Okay.
Metatron. So you might have to do a little work. You have to do a little background work. And he actually proclaims it in the song, "I follow Metatron." It's one of his lyrics. And I know a few people who follow Metatron, and they are very layered. We're talking the fact that they think life is actually a layered lesson where you are not living right unless you are pulling those layered messages out of your everyday reality. And so you don't even get to just experience your life. They atone that your life is actually a lesson that you are actively learning. And if you are not making these meta connections, these underlying layered connections, you're not actually doing life work. The actual life work of living is to comprehend these layered messages that the universe provides for you in everyday life. So, just if you got time and you're bored for shits and giggles, check out Metatron, and not Mega, Meta, Meta, Metatron, and check out what his actual foundational motivation is, because it might lend you some insight into why he might not be petty. He might be just someone who is trying to get a layered message out to multiple levels of consciousness. So, like you said, Brother Rodney, if you didn't see the overall message, if all you saw was red, white, and blue, you would think that he was in love with America, because the whole thing was red, white, and blue, right? You would put ultimate patriotism in the show if you wasn't paying attention to the fact that they were all black. If you wasn't paying attention to the dividedness of the flag. If you weren't paying attention to the underlying embedded message, you could just miss it and be like, "Oh, look, Uncle Sam, I love Uncle Sam. I love America. I love the flag. I love dancing." And you could have enjoyed that show on a surface level as a racist, as a MAGA, still, if you was not ready to deal with the underlying message that was being given. So just check it out, Metatron.
Okay. I want to say this, then I want to move on from it because we got like 45 minutes left and there's other things we need to hit on. The thing that got me, not only was it that he did the song, they not like us, let's be clear on that one, but the fact that the lowercase a. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, why the hell is he wearing a lowercase a around his neck? Like, this dude is not from Atlanta. Like, what semblance? What does this mean? I don't understand. Why would he wear a minor? Oh, snap! This dude is crazy. I'm like, yo, uppercase is a major, lowercase would be a minor. So he's wearing a minor. I'm like, son, if this isn't trolling at its highest level, I don't
Okay,
know what is.
Lee, for us people of a certain age that would rather have taken out the dumpsters, what's the significance of A minor other than it's a musical
It's a
note?
line in the song "They Not Like Us." So he's accusatory of Drake as liking young
And
girls.
others, Drake and
So
others.
and others of liking young girls. So he said you're trying to hit a note. So, but I bet it's A
So
minor.
that's the whole thing.
They
Also,
not like
the
Uh,
us.
majority of the
They,
song is
yeah,
calling
yeah,
him and his cohorts pedophiles. And so what I
yeah.
was confused about when I saw the lawsuit, when they was trying to say the lawsuit that Drake put against him for this song that he performed
Not
was
him.
about illegal,
Not him.
illegally pro huh?
Not him. Remember, it's against the label. It's against the record
That's
label.
what I'm trying to
Mhm.
explain. It wasn't even about him calling them a pedophile. The
Right.
lawsuit is about the song being irrationally and impossibly promoted on all these different formats,
Correct.
and how he know they doing it because that's how he got his stuff popping. And he want to know why they did that to him. Why would you let his song pop like this? Why y'all doing that to me? So, but
So
it's not about being called a pedophile.
that yeah.
So what he decided uh was that since he hang with pedophiles, brother Rodney, he has homeboys who live with and around him that he hang with who have active open pedophilia cases, right? And so Kendrick accused him of being a safe haven for pedophiles in exchange for cultural currency. They teach him how low to pull his pants down and how to get them two braids on the side done properly, right? Which, so that's the actual uh, claim being made against him. But he could not refute that he hang with pedophiles. So he had to refute that this song is being improperly promoted. And I just thought that was so weird because if somebody called me a pedophile, that would actually be the top part of my claim. Hey, I ain't no pedophile. But they didn't found him in the company of they didn't already found dudes have come out and said he has been in a I had to get my sister out of his clutches. So that's why he say on the song, watch your sister.
Around them. Yeah. Okay.
So it's a
Yeah.
claim against this idea that you can be a pervert. You can diddy us out. If you get enough fame, you can be a pervert around us. And he's saying, no, that's enough of that. No more perversion, no more tricked out little black girls because you got enough money. We done with that. And I don't think they ready. Nobody is ready to actually say that they are part of that I pay for, the younger the girl, the better. He about to clean up black Hollywood. He about to clean up black he about to clean up black music or something because ain't nobody gonna want to be seen with no underage girl after he didn't made himself known for calling out perverts and pedophiles.
Right. So, go ahead, Rodney,
So
and then
one
we'll
of the things,
transition.
yeah, one of the things that I got out of it and this was the relationship of black men and black women, besides the fact that he was able to make up with his exes and have them on the biggest stage in media, was when SZA came out. I think I remembered her from the Black Panther soundtrack, and I thought that they were good together on that. But I was trying to figure out really what was her purpose and what was her significance, because everything seemed to have some significance. And what was relayed to me was it wasn't so much her performance that was the big deal, but it was her portrayal of a performer, a black female performer who was not scantily clad, who
Mm,
was not, the focus was not her twerking or the size of her derriere,
mm,
or there was no nipple gate going on. It
That's
was
right.
that here is a, a woman that is black, that is positively representing her femininity, her womanhood, her professionalism. And there was no need to show. I mean, people can dress however they like, but for the significance and meaning of this is to give her the spotlight in his show. And it wasn't the
no,
spotlight of what we typically associate with.
no, that wasn't it. Rashi said it earlier. SZA was one of Drake's exes,
Yes,
just like
yes,
Serena was one of Drake's exes.
And she was
yes.
singing the Black Panther soundtrack.
So how you going to grab both my exes and have them on the stage as you perform a song that's just Body and Me? That dude is ridiculous. That
Yeah, the
dude.
Black Panther soundtrack was powerful, Mr. Rodney. And Sizzler really came. That was her one of her biggest paychecks.
Yep.
Was and the message is don't stop. Hey, full stop, don't stop. We're going full on, don't stop.
Yeah.
But yeah,
See, I don't know
we
none of
we
them
didn't get to
lyrics,
see
but
none of that titty meat, Mr. Rodney.
but
And she's
that
prone to show you to some titty meat. They had actually made her cover up because Sizzler will show you some of that booty meat, but not for this show, not for this
exactly,
message. That's
exactly,
right.
which to me was also brilliant because even his dress, did you guys know they ridiculed his attire?
Of course.
um, that was surprising because some of the things they said about his retire was he's a rapper, but he's still driving an old car and he's living in a house that only costs a couple of $100,000 and yada yada
That's why
yada.
he may stay humble.
So, well, again, for folks like me, don't know nothing about that. It's like you're talking a different language, but I appreciate the interpretation because folks like me need it. But then when I looked him up, come to find out that he donates a lot of his money
Yep.
to important charities. He also is a venture capitalist for black businesses. And I thought that was
Yeah, brother
amazing.
Rodney. Metatron don't let you keep all that money.
Well, my understanding of Metatron, which I'm not a big fan of the meta part in the name, but the name of Metatron came before the Meta company. Maybe that's why they changed the name just to Meta. But Metatron was a powerful archangel somewhere up in the likes of Gabriel and Michael. Though Metatron is not actually, I don't think it's actually mentioned in the Bible that I recall, but I'm getting older, so I may have
Right,
may
right.
have
These are
forgotten
not
it.
biblical. This is
But
not
the
biblical.
part of it that is unique is that he is the offspring, or what Enoch turns into when he goes to heaven. And Enoch didn't die. He was one of the, I believe, three that actually didn't die and ascended to heaven. And so that is the significance and give it the power. And he's also one who brings knowledge and light. And he does it in such a way so people can interpret it. And in this video, he gave us a piece that a lot of people got, but it's also something that we will be able to interpret, which
Yeah.
falls right in line with the ideology of a Metatron.
This is the kind of stuff though you end up teaching like it becomes a lesson in one of them Harvard understanding the culture classes. They got whole classes on stuff like this, stuff like the Black Lives Movement, stuff like things that define that actually are real. They define an ideology, but we haven't picked it apart enough to know why. So I can look for things because they studied Tupac. You understand? They studied rap in general. There's a whole study of, well, we were some of the most studied people ever. But this is one of them things, Lee, that you're going to see on a curriculum somewhere, as part of how to understand culture on a tertiary level. And so
Speak.
I'm just glad we were alive to see us fighting back. Because, like I said, most of the time when we get on the stage, we still trying to do what Michael Jackson did back in the day. And it was a beautiful thing, but it wasn't to teach us a lesson. It was strictly to entertain. When you get into edutainment, that's what it is. Kendrick Lamar is an
Well,
edutainer.
remember his performance started off with the revolution will be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong to mess with. So shout again, shouts out to him. Let's move on though to the other side of the equation, which is just life in general. If you recall, on Thursday, another attack happened in Munich. 30 people were injured as a driver plowed into a crowd that was demonstrating against the labor union. 24-year-old Afghan asylum seeker was arrested after police fired a shot into the vehicle and apprehended him. No reason has been released thus far as to why that happened, but that happened. We talked about this the last time it happened. It happened in Germany last time, and there's nothing that one can do, just like the attack that happened in New Orleans. There's nothing that the police can do really to stop a car attack. So as we warm up, because the summer months, spring and summer months are coming upon us, please, people, please, family, be forever vigilant. You just, we are in a space, in a time, in a world where you just don't know. And I'm not telling you to stay in the daggone house, sit around, watch the television all daggone day, and eat and get fat. No, I'm not telling you that. I'm saying to you though, once you go outside and you're trying to enjoy life, that you need to be diligent and vigilant in making and checking your surroundings as often as possible. The days are gone in which we can just scurry along as though nothing is going to happen, because 9 times out of 10, nothing does happen. Unfortunately, we are in a world in which too often things like this happen. And again, there's very little prevention from things like this happening. There's very little. Who knows that car sitting at a traffic light, the driver is going to just all of a sudden yank the wheel and drive into a sidewalk, drive into a building. Nobody knows that until it happens. There's no way to defend us against that. We just have to do our best to be diligent and vigilant about our personal safety and the safety for the people that we love if we so happen to be out with them. Some other news that caught my attention. Sad news in Detroit on Monday. Two young folks were found dead in a van, sleeping in a casino parking lot with their family. Uh, it was below 32 degrees in the van. This family lived in the van. The children died of hypothermia. It's a direct correlation to the state of affairs that we're in this country. It's a direct correlation to the need for cheaper housing and for a stronger educational system, because a stronger educational system tends to lead to uh, better employment opportunities, better pay for with those opportunities, and the like. Now, Rodney, I heard you go, yeah, because unfortunately the educational system is under attack by the current administration, but there is opportunities to resist, and hopefully folks will do their due diligence in order to resist. Yeah. Um, we've had some resistance come from officials at higher levels, folks in law enforcement, be it directly on the street level, on the beat, or those who enforce the laws inside the courtrooms. We have lost a good number of those people. That's not true, not a good number, but we've lost some of those people this week. And with that, obviously, there's wisdom and knowledge that goes with them. Again, as I stated about 10, 15 minutes ago, hopefully these folks will be replaced by actual folks that are already in the pipeline, not by corporate replacements, not by dishing out a contract with some company that comes in and replaces those folks with their people at a much higher cost to the American citizen and a much higher cost to the lives and liberties of American citizens. In Arizona, a woman pleaded guilty to running a laptop farm. She was supplying 3 North Koreans with job opportunities here in the United States of America. They were getting paid from American companies. These folks have been identified as working very closely with the North Korean military complex. So they were taking American money, getting paid in American money, taking that back to North Korea and doing God knows what with those monies. But that could put our soldiers, sailors, airmen, coasties, space guardians, I don't even know what the hell they call themselves, in harm's way, to be honest with you. So
Guardians.
They just call themselves guardians. Okay. Guardians of the space, whatever they call themselves. Good Lord have mercy. Anyhow, put them in harm's way, and we don't need that. She faces 9 years. She did plead guilty in U.S. District Court. Her name is Christina Marie Chapman. She is a resident of the state of Arizona. So that's where that happened. 2 more things, and then we can get directly into the happenings or the mishaps of the Trump administration this week. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. He was one of the architects accused of plotting the 9/11 attack. He has signed a plea deal that allows him to seek a non-death penalty hearing, as long as he does not tell about the torture techniques that were used against him at Gitmo. Yep, that happened this week. The 3-judge panel in Washington Appeals Court is on the case to see if former Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin lawfully withdrew from a plea agreement with Muhammad in a capital case with 5 other men accused of conspiracy with Mr. Muhammad. And a part of that is this plea agreement that he has signed that will allow him to still stand trial. He has to plead guilty during trial, but he will not be sentenced to death. So more than likely they will sentence him to life in prison, which is the same daggone thing, but he's not going to get executed. He'll just wither away in prison. Lastly, Orange Park, Florida. A woman there sued the Orange County Public School District because an anonymous tipster informed them that she modeled on OnlyFans. The court found against her. The school district removed her as a volunteer from an elementary school, and she fought to remain as a volunteer. The court ruled that the charges that she brought against the county were not valid in any way, shape, or form. I'm summarizing. I'm not giving you the totality of the daggone case. They also ruled, this was very interesting, that the content was not based on revenge. The content was given, not taken, on her OnlyFans page, meaning she was shaking her ass for her personal gain. No one recorded her and put it out there in public in order to shame her.
So one of the dudes who was buying the ass shaking got mad
Yep.
and told on her. How dumb
Abs-
is that? Oh, I'm
absolutely.
sorry. I'm
Or
sorry. Now I gotta shut my
or
OnlyFans down.
or the wife of one of the dudes that was paying for the booty shaking found out that she was booty shaking, got mad at her, and snitched on her.
That's revenge.
Yeah, that part is revenge, but because it wasn't put out there by them to attack her, she put it out there voluntarily. It's not considered revenge porn because she herself was the
Wait a minute
initial.
though. She's a volunteer. She fighting
Yes,
to volunteer.
yeah, she wants to
Fool.
volunteer at
Tell her
school
to
with her.
go to the really bad school. They don't care if you shake your ass.
They don't care.
They don't care if you
No,
sell
they don't
dope.
care. Not
If you gonna teach Taekwondo how to read, you could
Wow.
literally him and Jamarion. If you're gonna teach Javante, Jamarion, Taekwondo, and little LaQuisha how to read, baby, they don't care if you shake your ass. They don't care if you got teardrop tattoos on your face. You gonna volunteer?
okay.
What difference does it make what a volunteer do? But I
Uh,
guess if you have a loose a moral compass that points towards OnlyFans, then it might just be a liability to have you around children. But all she gotta say is I don't sell my soft porn to children.
right. So Rodney went away, and I really wanted him in on this because I wanted to go to New York because this bleeds into the Trump administration for this week. Mayor
I'm
Eric
here.
Adams, I got you. You just went off video. I got you. Mayor Eric Adams not filed. He has been let off the hook by the Justice Department in exchange for his agreement to help the Trump administration with their enforcement of the removal of illegal aliens from the city. Mayor Adams turned around and directed all departments within the city to allow ICE to do pretty much whatever they wanted to do. For in exchange for dropping the charges against him, because if you all know, remember, he was brought up on a federal indictment um, for taking funds
Bribery.
while he was in office. This was um, this was done after Mayor Adams has been at the inauguration. He's been on Fox News heavily. He's definitely been playing the game. So now he's being touted and put out there as the new token Negro for the Trump administration. It went up to the chain to the point where the assistant district attorney, acting assistant district attorney, was asked to drop the charges. She decided to resign. She was and is, I'm sorry, a lifelong Republican. She is a diehard Republican. And she said, in effect, no way, Jose, this dude is guilty as hell, and we should not just allow him to walk. And she was told, either you do it or you go. And she walked. The question now is who's going to drop the charges? Before she walked, she also revealed there's another indictment coming down on him. Is that going to be swept under the rug as well? It
Yep.
was also said that that's not true. The Kieran indictment would move under the direct guidance of the U.S. Justice Department. Now, what do you think the second one is going to do, if it ever materializes? To be honest with you,
State.
the question now, the question now is the two questions: will Mayor Adams flip parties and become a Republican? Question number one. If he does or doesn't, will the governor remove him from office because she can? Rodney, this brother, I know him.
No
We
brother, but go ahead.
we well, we've done work with him in the past when he was the borough president for Brooklyn. I saw him as a rising star. I saw him as potentially someone that we would all know for very good reasons in the near future. And yet, I am truly disappointed in how things have turned. I do not know the full story. I will give him, and I'm open to hearing his side in full. But what we are seeing now, what we are faced with now, is not a good look by any stretch of the imagination. And I wanted your opinion on that, especially as a Brooklynite.
Dirty was brother. What the the former policeman
Yeah.
was dirty then. He was dirty when he was the borough president, and he was dirty running for office, and he was dirty in office. And we have to stop giving brothers a pass
Pass.
who harm us. Hence why I took, now he's no brother of ours, because a brother don't do that to his people. The dude is a sellout. As a matter of fact, he is now officially, going back to the origin of the police, a slave catcher. He works for the plantation owner. He is bought and paid for. But here's the thing: he is doing the pay. He will pay the American Fuhrer for the rest of his life. He will deliver as much of New York, our largest city, with a huge black population. He will deliver as much of that as he can into the hands of Cheeto Mussolini. This is a blight on black people. And if he can survive and make it to the next election, because what I'm hoping is that they bring state charges up against him, and those state charges are out of the reach of Cheeto Mussolini, and that he loses his job, because he deserves to lose his job with the evidence that is there. Now, we can say, well, he didn't have his day in court, and therefore we don't know. Yes, legally we can say that, but I'm not a lawyer and I'm not in court. The preponderance of evidence against him, the records that they have against him, the dude was guilty. He was so guilty that he didn't want to go to trial, that he was willing to sell out his people, that he was willing to turn over human beings to the slave catcher. And the only saving grace is he's not in Harriet's time, because he would get what he deserves. So, no, he is no brother. I don't want to hear any black person saying, well, Rodney, white people get away with this all the time. No, this dude is selling us out. And this is just the tip of him selling us out. There will be more, because now the ring is in his nose. He belongs to that guy that, unfortunately, there was enough people mesmerized to vote him into office, even though Elon Musk's son says he's not the real president. But Eric Adams needs to go. And if Governor Holcomb has it within her power and the legislature to remove him,
She does.
I hope that she does. The downside is there's too many black people who are living in bliss, and the bliss is ignorance, who will try to come to this black man's rescue simply because he's a black man. There are people on my Facebook page who they have skin like me, have similar ancestry to me, but they are not me, and they are not like us, because they work for the slave. See, I learned,
I like it.
They work for the slave catchers, and all the slave catchers deserve the Stalag 17 treatment. And as this war has been declared on us, and it has been declared on black people, we just don't know it yet for some reason, but we're taking casualties. Eric Adams, that was a huge loss. That was a casualty. There will be many more casualties at the hands of Eric Adams, at the behest of the American Fuhrer. But the worst part, Lee, is he is going to do things on his own to please the American Fuhrer without him even asking, to make sure he stays in his good grace. Every mafia don likes to have a borough president, and if they can get it, the mayor in their pocket. Well, Don DeCon is that mafia don. He just unfortunately holds the highest office in the land, and he's using the same tactics, and he has captured Eric Adams. He has captured a former black man, and now that black man is his slave. And if uh, Governor Holcomb can get rid of him, the sooner the better. And hopefully, black people will not rally in his support and will actually do just the opposite. Call him reprobate, excommunicate him from the black community, and hand him over to Governor Holcomb to exercise her prerogatives as governor.
Rashi, any thoughts?
You know it gotta be deep when getting you the justice you think you deserve make people quit their job. So it's something to the coercion, the hand that these hands that we don't see, brotherly. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
we know that there whoever put that pressure on them to exonerate this man, that's what I want to know. Like he's such a small part of this force that's coming down. Oh, the kind of force that turns senates red. Hey, they got them all. Even the Supreme Court is on his team between Scalia and Thomas Clarence. Uh, he got the five fists of fury, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got the Congress, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the military, and the executive seat. He's put in top of the military somebody who don't even know all the fucking protocols. He ain't even been in the military long enough to understand actual, real, proper military. They just put him at the top, set him there like on top of the wedding cake. And so now we got a new lady in the intelligence, right? A new lady in the intelligence realm. What's her name? Colbert, Toppy, Topi,
Tulsi Gabbard,
Gabbers. Her. Okay.
a
The way.
known Russian spy, but go
Come
ahead.
on, come on. So he's actually got the whole palm. And I want to know when you get all that power, Lee, what how can you have another dude just standing there talking about what he do? The fact that he has all of that and there's still some other dude who's not his vice president. I ain't seen that dude.
Right.
Y'all seen
Well,
JD?
that dude got the money. That dude got the money. See, the whole thing with him and Elon is Elon's money. He needs Elon's money bad because he wants to be what he said he is, which is a multi-million billionaire. That's what he wants to be. He wants to look and feel like
Right.
he's the BMC, the big man on campus. But let's pause for a second and go back. All of Trump's nominees will get confirmed. The issue, to your point, Rashi, is he has all the cards in his hand or in his pocket, however you want to class it or call it. I heard from his mouth, not from somebody else. I'm saying I was watching, I should say. Jeffries say, this is their government. This is their government. There's only but so much we can do. And one of the talking heads later said that was a weak position for him to take.
Yes.
I see you nodding in agreement, Rodney, and I understand your agreement because I agree with you. But I also get where he was coming from. I don't know if it's going to win though. Where he's coming from is He's trying to paint all of your ills and your issues on the Republican Party. Will that work? I don't know, because the messaging has to be tight, the messaging has to be right, the messaging has to be consistent. And I don't know if that will tap into Americans at all, because they went this way, this go around, for someone whom they've already had and knew that he was trash. But somehow or another, they believed that he would be different this time. So I really don't know if the American populace has learned its lesson. I really don't know. I don't. I agree with you, Rodney, as you shake your head. No, I don't trust that we have, and that's a sad state of affairs. But that's what I'm thinking on right now. I'm thinking on that because of what we've just done to ourselves. If Trump was new, fresh out the box, we had never given him an opportunity, this would be different. He's not. We had. He didn't do anything. He said he was going to build a big, beautiful wall, and Mexico was going to pay for it. That didn't happen. He said he was going to do this. He said he was going to do that, and none of those things happened. You were not better off under Trump. You were better off under the continuance of policies that the Obama administration had going on, and the fact that the economy was roaring, relatively speaking, under President Obama. It wasn't the fact solely that the coronavirus was at the end of the Trump administration that tanked the Trump administration. It was the fact that Donald Trump was at the beginning of the Trump administration and it tanked the Trump administration, because they wanted to go so far left from what was going on that it hurt us. It wasn't that we were in a better, safer place when Donald Trump was in office last time. We were not. It wasn't that he was a better negotiator. He was not. We saw that with our withdrawal that everyone tried to ring or place around the neck of the Biden administration, but they forgot that that was negotiated by the Trump administration. And by the time the Biden administration got in office, it was too late to renegotiate. Nobody wanted to listen. They wanted us to stick by our deal. Hence, we left all that equipment. Hence, we left all those beautiful bases that were built in pristine condition. It's with someone that should not. As a whole, we are getting what we voted for. As a whole, we are getting what we voted for. And that's why I say I understand Hakeem Jeffrey's position. I don't know how well it will stick, but I understand his position. I understand the play.
I think it was a stronger position than you think. He was discussing bipartisanism. Like, if we cannot get anything worked out together, every time one team say yes, the next team come on, they say no, and switching back and forth like that does not work within a
Right.
population of people. That
Correct.
bipartisanism he was begging for, he said we reaching, but it's so clicked up over there that they, even if you attempt to reach out to handle some business on shit that's important, they hurry up and close the department down before you can get any proper principles judged,
Right.
on it. So bipartisanism is its power. If you really want to get some shit worked out, it's going to take both. And so the idea that you are saying my like Billy D say, you gonna let my hand fall off over here? But it's reaching out on uh, global climate change. It's reaching out on labor. Their hand is out on health and social services. The Democratic hand stays out when you're talking about taking care of shit that's gonna take care of people most of the time. And there is no shame in that, Brother Rodney. There's no shame in having your hand out with other forces saying, look, while you doing this, you need to keep the people in your thoughts, not just the people who are going to uh, be financially helped with this mandate, but the actual people, they have to be in your thoughts. That's the mission of the Democrats. That handout was not weak. That's the handout. That's the strong handout. I know it sounds crazy, but being willing to be vulnerable to help people, knowing that eventually you're gonna have to you're gonna have to reach your hand out if you're gonna help anybody, or you just complacent
No,
in the help of only their people. You have to put on their heart, like the Christians say. Come on, brother Rodney, you gotta put it on their heart. You gotta
no,
put them people
Yeah.
on their heart so that they don't just be so malicious in their principles and their doctrine. I,
Um, we got 5 minutes left. Go ahead, Rodney. Go into it because
Okay, so first of all, I want to throw in this: um, the under the VA administration, as you were talking about things being privatized, 4 people have to give up their jobs, and only one person will be hired. So they're going to reduce the VA, I believe, the largest governmental industry employer, by 75%. It already takes me about 3 months to get an appointment right now, and they're understaffed. So I just wanted to put that out there to show that they're not here for us. They're not like us, right? So I want to put that out there. But as far as this thing about bipartisanship, imagine the Jewish people in World War II saying we're going to have bipartisanship with Hitler. Instead of him only gassing six, instead of him gassing 6 million, we're going to get him to cut it down to 4 million. And that's going to be the new standard. No, it's unacceptable. What happens for Black people in this country happens for everybody. So this thing about reaching across the aisle to agree with the fascists, the Nazis, is not wise, and it is dangerous, and it will cause harm. The Republicans have proven from the time President Obama went in office, when they said they were going to make him a one-term president and they wouldn't approve any legislation. They wouldn't let him make his Supreme Court appointee. In a nutshell, due to time, what the Democrats need to do is bump that crap that Hakeem Jeffries said, because we're not 20 years ago. We're not dealing with reasonable people, or somewhat, well, I should say 40 years ago. We're not dealing with somewhat reasonable people. We are dealing with the maggots. That's who we're dealing with. And for 50 years, they stayed focused on their agenda to get to where they are now with no compromise. This is not the time for us to be compromising, and it's not the time to be reaching across the aisle for things that will hurt us. And with Bobby Kennedy at the helm, he just fired the virus hunters, the people who keep us safe. And how do we reach across the aisle to someone like that? No, the Democrats, maybe this is the reason why I'm not one, because they're weak. The Democrats need to do what Joe Biden said. They need to grow a spine, and they need to stand up to the bully. They need to stand up to the dictator, and every chance they get, they need to pop him in the eye, and they need to take the playbook from Mitch McConnell and don't let them pass a doggone thing. That's my version of cursing. You can imagine what it would be until they get out of office. There should be constant resistance, because if the Democrats who are elected, that are looked up to, say that there's nothing that they can do, imagine how that reverberates down chain, so to speak. All right, Lee, that's all I had time for.
yeah, you do because there's only a minute and 30 seconds left. I want to say this real quick. Rodney, I agree with you in 100%, but the numbers don't add up. Unfortunately, America has elected too many folks on the other side, and it's going to be extremely difficult for the Democrats to stop anything that the Republicans want to do at this point. Rashi, you said something earlier about who can stop that he had to pull back some executive orders. Not necessarily true. The sad part of this thing is no matter what the courts say, he still has to do it. And he can constantly go against whatever the courts say because at the end of the day, he still has the Supreme Court in his pocket. So no matter how many cases they want to throw at him, if they do upchannel the Supreme Court 9 times out of 10, they're going to go in his favor. Family, thank you all for listening live. Thank you those who listen later and viewing. This is a totally different thing for us. I forgot about the viewing part. You know what I'm saying? It's been another good one. Shout out to Thomas Berry. He was off this week. It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, brother. We appreciate you. I know you're enjoying your day. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe until next week, family. As we always say about this time, we love you and the
Peace.
damn thing you can do about it.
That's it.
Peace.
Peace.